dark cinema is good is that it's very, very good for 3D. There's not a lot of light that reflects from the walls and what have you, so it's a really good cinema, especially to see 3D. So what I want to do today is tell you a little bit about IMAX. I'm sure you guys know a little bit, but I want to tell you a little bit more. But I want to talk to you about the technology and why IMAX Laser is unique and why this is a special viewing experience. So in terms of like getting onto the first slide, IMAX, to give you background on our company, IMAX is a 50-year-old company. It's basically our 50th anniversary. I guess it was our 50th anniversary last year. We're a global company. We've got offices here in Manila, in Shanghai, Moscow, where I'm based. We've got offices in London, New York, Toronto, and Los Angeles. All to service a growing network. We operate in 74 countries around the world, and with all the top cinema players, we're located in all the top cinemas on a global basis. So just, we take really a lot of pride in sort of the milestones that we've achieved over the last few years, and we've got a long history of documentaries and being involved in museums and what have you, but what I'd like to kind of point out is that kind of the modern history of IMAX, I think, really started in 2003 when we started to do Hollywood film products. We were bringing movies like The Matrix and The Polar Express and The Dark Knight. We started bringing them into the IMAX world, and that's when IMAX really started to grow. And I think, really 2018 is kind of a watershed. We spent a lot of time developing our laser technology, and now we have it in a beautiful little package that we call IMAX Laser, and it's designed for the multiplex environment. So moving on to the next slide, what kind of makes IMAX special is not just one thing. It's a combination of things where we work with film producers, we work with the studios. We start off at the very early stage on the content side. We bring IMAX, unique versions of IMAX film into a uniquely designed auditorium like this, and we screen it with unique IMAX technology. So it's quite a long, involves sort of almost like a closed loop ecosystem in order to provide the moviegoers with the best possible experience. So, in terms of our worldwide network, as I mentioned earlier, we're a fast-growing company in the cinema business. We have 74 countries that we operate in. We have over 1,400 theaters operating, and we have over 500 theaters under development. So we're continuing to grow. There's going to be well over 2,000 theaters in the coming years, and it really provides Hollywood with and a lot of local film makers as well with a unique opportunity and a unique sort of distribution platform for amazing technology or amazing film product. So where IMAX is located, as I mentioned earlier, we're in some of the top cinemas in the world, but we're in some of the most iconic locations. We're in, as you see here, we're in Los Angeles at the TCL IMAX, which is where a lot of the Hollywood film premieres take place. We were in, you'll see shortly, a theater in Berlin. You'll see a theater in Leicester Square in London, and these are all iconic theaters. So I wanted to kind of point that out to you today because I feel that this cinema is taking the place of a new future iconic cinema here in Manila, a place where premieres and the place to be seen in terms of when you want to really show off the film that you're either involved in or you want to see. So as I mentioned earlier, where IMAX really sort of why IMAX is really special, or sort of almost like our special secret ingredient, is their relationship with the filmmakers. So filmmakers like Christopher Nolan, Michael Bay, J.J. Abrams, and even James Wan, who's coming out with Aquaman, or the people who did Fantastic Beasts. They're all big fans of the IMAX experience, and they all want to do something special with the technology to make it, to make their films unique, and to make IMAX theaters like the place to see what their artistic vision was. So, these filmmakers behind have used IMAX cameras, some extremely extensively. The recent Avengers movie and the upcoming Avengers movie next year was completely shot with IMAX digital cameras, and it really makes a difference in the quality of the movie and the movie experience. As you can see behind me, these are just some of the examples of films which have used IMAX cameras. And a lot of movies that we've got coming up and that we've had this year have something that we call IMAX DNA. And what we mean by that is something that the filmmakers have done special and unique to make the film just unique in the IMAX experience. So the recent Fantastic Beasts, for example, had unique 3D experiences where the actual, and I don't know if you managed to see the movie in this auditorium, but the 3D actually really popped out of the screen because they did that especially for the IMAX version. In terms of sort of IMAX content differentiation, sort of the DNA that I was talking about, when we get a film, whether or not it's been shot with IMAX cameras or shot with a digital camera or shot with film cameras, no matter what, we take it and we run it through something we call IMAX digital root mastering, so IMAX DMR. And what the process does is it cleans up every single frame. It makes the images sharper, clearer, crisper, so that when you're watching a movie, you can see details that you can't see anywhere else. I remember the first time I actually noticed it was actually on the first Matrix movie, so it kind of shows you how long I've been working for IMAX for. But I remember watching the scene and looking at the actor, seeing his contact lenses, and I'm like, holy smokes, I've never seen that amount of detail in a movie. And it just kind of goes to show the technology is really powerful. So we've actually, I think we're on the third sort of version, the third generation of this technology. We continue to improve it. We continue to make the images that you see on screen even better. So then what we do when we get this technology, when we get the content from the Hollywood studios, and we make it special, we remaster it, we bring it into the unique IMAX sort of environment. And what's special about it is the geometry and how we design theaters. So why you feel so immersive in an IMAX theater, so immersed in an IMAX theater, is that the screen is closer to you, and your relationship between the screen is such that all you see is screen. So you feel right in the movie. And it's something called a viewing angle. It's just a geometric trick at the end of the day, but we've designed our theaters, we've designed our special lenses to allow you to watch an image in this sort of immersive format. And the next thing that we do is should be sound is next. And what we're going to be talking about today, a lot actually, before I get into sound, is we project the images on screen with a special technology, which is IMAX with laser. And why we developed a laser system is that we started off, we had a problem. So we had, around the world, we had about 100 museums with IMAX theaters, sort of institutional theaters, which were all film-based. And the IMAX film, and just film in general, was starting to go away. It was starting to become very expensive, not only to run the projectors with these films, but just to get the film prints to the theaters. So it was kind of a dying industry. So we were faced with the fact that potentially 100 theaters were just going to disappear overnight. So we invested over $60 million in research and development to create this really unique digital technology, or laser technology, in order to fill the biggest screens possible with IMAX film-like quality, which is the sort of pinnacle of projection technology. IMAX film, if you ask any filmmaker, they'll say that IMAX film is the best, and it's still the best way to project something. So we needed to replace that, and we couldn't use standard digital technology. So hence IMAX with laser. And one of the special sort of things that we did with IMAX with laser is we completely redesigned the way light goes through the projection system. So in a second, you'll see in a second, you'll see what we've redesigned is we took away the prisms that were used in projection systems. So every single projector in the world uses a prism to reflect the light as the light kind of passes through from the light source, be it a laser system, be it a kind of a regular projection light bulb. They always the light was always refracted, and what the issue with that is that it was causing issues with contrast, and the images weren't as bright. So we decided to take that out of the system and completely redesign it. And what that means is that we're now able to have a projection system which where the light, we use the purest light possible, and the laser lights flow through the projection system, and they get onto the chips in a direct manner. It's a very hot manner. There's a lot of heat that goes through the projection system, but we use this sort of unique sort of clip system using a metal called Invar, which is the most thermally stable metal available on the planet. So it's a very unique metallic design, very thermally stable, and it allows us to get these images on the screen in the clearest crystal way possible. So then moving on from the projection system, what else that's unique in this particular system is the IMAX with sound. So every time, no matter if it's a regular IMAX theater or this particular IMAX theater, every time we get a movie from the Hollywood studios, we remix the sound to take advantage of the unique IMAX sound system. So this particular sound system in this theater is unique in the country. It's got a 12-channel system. So it's really hard to see it at Black Theater, but there's massive speakers behind you, there's speakers above you, and there's speakers behind the screen. And you'll hear a demo fairly shortly, which I think you'll ultimately be impressed with, and you'll get an idea of the difference that IMAX immersive sound really makes to the viewing experience. And finally, one of the things that IMAX is really fanatical about is quality. So one of the things that we have with all of the IMAX theaters actually, is they're monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for quality. So there's a camera that kind of monitors what's on screen, monitors the screen for quality. The system, which is attached to something called the IMAX Image Enhancement Engine, monitors the sound system. So on a daily basis, we know what the quality is like within the theater. And the reason we do that is to make sure that every time somebody watches a movie in the IMAX theater, that the quality is consistent, that it's the way that the filmmakers intended the movie to be screened. And that's one of the reasons why filmmakers are big fans of the IMAX experience, is that we're fanatical about the quality. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the future of film next year. But this year we've had all the top Hollywood blockbusters. We've even had, you'll see the movie in January, Indian films. We do Chinese movies, we do Russian movies. So we do all the biggest blockbusters, not only on a global scale, but on a local, regional level as well, provided we have enough theaters in the marketplace. So we'll get to that a little bit after the demo. But what we're about to show, so we get to the fun part of the presentation. I'm going to show you a laser demo. It's about 20 minutes long, actually maybe about 15 minutes. Talks a little bit about what's unique, goes into a little bit more detail than I did. It's in 2D, so you don't need your glasses, the first part. And what I want you to do while you're watching it is take a look at the little details. Take a look at the images on screen, the edges of an image, the brightness, the uniformity. So kind of put on like a little bit of a scientific hat while you're watching what I'm about to show you, and and listen for the details. Listen for sounds that you may not hear, sounds that you wouldn't hear in a regular movie theater. So you're going to see probably about a 8-minute sort of little, I'll say a little demo, and then it'll have a couple clips. One clip of a documentary of a rocket launch. There'll be a little bit of a vignette from Dunkirk that Christopher Nolan shot with IMAX cameras, and then a scene from The Greatest Showman, which really, for me, shows you what IMAX sound is all about. And with that particular clip, look at the colors and look at the detail on the costumes and the detail on the actors' faces, and I'm sure you'll enjoy. So sit back, relax, and let's run the demo.